Hello, what's up guys, it's Lego Guy here today with a 2023 Lego unboxing and review. I have a ton of sets to go over today, so let's get right into it. So to start off, we have all three sets of the 2023 Lego Indiana Jones wave. I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan. Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite movie of all time. However, I got into the movies after the Lego sets had been long since discontinued, so I never got a chance to actually own any of them. However, when LEGO revamped the wave in 2023 with 3 new amazing sets, I knew I had to get them. Next up, we have the LEGO No Way Home Final Battle set, and something very interesting, the Sandman Final Battle set as well. Now this is interesting because this LEGO set doesn't technically come out until January of 2024, and I'm recording this on December the 26th of 2023. So currently, this set is not actually out for retail yet. I'll get to how I actually got this set once we get to that part in the video. I also have 2 Star Wars sets, the Obi-Wan Jedi Starfighter back from 2021, and the Palpatine's Throne Room diorama set. And lastly, I knew I wanted to get one of the LEGO Guardians of the Galaxy ships. However, I wasn't really sure which one. There were pros and cons to both of them, and after a lengthy decision-making process, I settled on both. Yep, both. Yeah, this is my very well done financial decisions here. So that's all the sets we're going to be going over today. I mean, other than this, we're also going to be going over this. This was a gift with purchase I got with the Benatar. So yeah, I guess we can go over that today too. For the most part, I'm going to be building these from smallest to largest. There will be some exceptions to that, but we'll get to that later. Alright, so we are going to start off with the gift with purchase. This is a tribute to Galileo Galilei. It's a LEGO Ideas set, 18 plus, which is interesting considering the size. It's very small, with only 307 pieces. On the top we have the tile thing that's apparently going to be in the set, nothing here. A little picture there, nothing on the bottom. And then on the back, it's basically just the same model, and it says we have a little play function here that we can spin something on the back of the model, and it will spin this little sun dome thing here. So what I find interesting, 2 things. Firstly, it's a LEGO Ideas, which is interesting because I don't see a number on here. Normally you have like LEGO Ideas set number, blah, 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 and normally you can buy them. I've never seen a LEGO Ideas set that was a gift with purchase, but I don't know, maybe that's common. And then the next thing is that it's only 307 pieces, but it's 18 and up. I guess the 18 and up might have to do with the fact that it's more of a display type thing, even though it's small. I don't really know. Let's open it up. We do have tape on the sides as opposed to those little poppy things, which is nice, even though when it is the poppy things, I just cut the side anyway. Dump it out. Woo! You missed that entire unboxing because my arm was in the way, but oh well. So we have numbered bags. 3, looks like Galileo's in bag 3. Bag 2, a bunch of tan pieces. Smaller bag 2. Bag 1. And another bag 1. We also have a very bent sticker sheet. 2 of these pieces, which is interesting. I have no idea what these are going to be used for in the set, but we'll see. Instruction booklet that's looking very crisp and clean. LEGO Ideas logo, I guess, on the back. And another bag 3. Okay, let's get building. So as I was building, I noticed something kind of interesting that doesn't really have to affect the building at all, but it's just something fascinating. So basically, bag 1, there's 2 bag 1s. There's a small bag 1, and there's not much of it left, but a big bag 1. And then for these little 1x1 black bricks, I found most of them in the small bag. However, I found one of them in the big bag for some reason. I still have the correct number. Like, I'm not missing any. There's no problems, but it's just kind of weird to me. Like, why would 3 of them be in this bag and 1 of them be in the big bag? I don't know. Bag 2. Let's open it up. What? Alright, so we're all done with bag 2, and that's most of the actual diorama done. It does something really interesting for holding this all in place. So basically, the back one is the only one actually connected to the base plate. And then these things, if you look back here, there's these 1x1 bricks kind of in the way, so this can't close more like this. And so it can't go more in. There's this brick. I don't actually know what this piece is called, or if it's, I don't think it's a brick, but whatever this L kind of piece is put there. And then we have these triangle pieces put on the side that kind of stick it in place. So it does have a bit of wiggle, but like, that's how far I can move it, which I think is really good for stability. Bag 3 time. And we're actually going to start by building the man himself, Galileo. So we have plain black pants, which I think makes sense. I don't really see any reason for there to be leg printing. We have this kind of shirt piece, button-up shirt, which is really interesting because I have never seen this before. I didn't even know this piece existed. However, I think it would be really weird for them to create an entirely new piece just or an entirely new print just for a gift with purchase. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Has this torso appeared anywhere else? I think same thing for the head, but we'll get to the head in a bit. We have beard piece. Yes, very normal. I think this is like a Santa Claus beard or something. And yes, as I thought, we're given an extra piece. I don't know, for some reason like beards and like neck ring pieces, they always have extra pieces. So we have this head, and I think it's very interesting that this head, he's very grumpy. I think once you put the hair on, you know, on the box, he looks kind of more of like a interested kind of face, not this grumpy. I was very surprised to see this this face. But again, this is one that I have no idea. Did this appear somewhere else, or is this new to the set? You know. And then lastly, we have kind of this receding hairline gray piece. I think this was like Peter Venkman hair piece. I don't actually know where this originated, but I think it was Peter Venkman. But yep, here we go. There's the Galileo Galilei minifigure. Definitely a weird one to have, but a welcome one to be sure. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you just spin this wheel back here, and it makes the Earth spin. Whee! That's cool. Alright, and we are complete with the tribute to Galileo. It's a really, really nice set. I mean, that being said, it is a gift with purchase, so it's nothing huge and amazing, but, you know, I'm something of a scientist myself, so getting a gift with purchase that is very science-related display diorama type piece is very, very much appreciated. And the designer, I mean, I guess I said them, but this was the LEGO Ideas designer, really knocked it out of the park with just all the little detail, basically cramming it into one small space that is a perfect display piece. Again, there's not really much functionality to it other than that that spinning Earth around the sun that we saw from earlier when we built it. There are, looks like, 2 places to put Galileo. One is here that I have him on, and I think that's really so he can look in his telescope, but I put him facing forward. And then there's the seat, the chair back there, if you can see that, where he can actually sit. But I kind of like him standing in the front. I think that that's it for this. So yeah, let's move on to the next set. So this is the Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi Starfighter from Attack of the Clones, set number 75333. It's 7 up, 282 pieces, which is actually smaller than the Galileo Galilei set, but I'm doing this one after because I kind of ranked this one above the Galileo set because I actually chose to buy this one, whereas the Galileo was just kind of a, here you go, here's a free gift for buying a super expensive spaceship. On top we have Tanwi, nothing here, nothing on the back. We just have him getting out of the Starfighter, and it shows that we can hide R4P17's body in the spaceship, and that there's flick-fire missiles. And I have to say, I like these new, or not flick-fire, these are not flick-fire. These new stud shooters, as opposed to the old stud shooters. The old stud shooters were like really weird looking, and I think that these ones are much sleeker and they blend into the build much more. So this one does have the pop sides, but I'm not popping the sides. I will cut. Cutting these pop tops are much harder, but one thing you can actually do is if you put the knife right under the thumb push, there's actually no glue under there. So if you try to like get it under here, it's much harder to actually get it further. Whereas here you can get it completely all the way under the cardboard, and you can get it pretty far back, and then you can just, there you go. We have, oh my goodness, an absolutely gargantuan sticker sheet that appears to be ripped. Interestingly enough, I don't think this will damage the sticker because the sticker really isn't showing off, but that's interesting that we had that happen. Little mistake there, and an instruction booklet. This is interesting because this is also just like the other one. This has kind of like a white background, you know? Normally, back when I was building Legos way back in the day, you know, you had basically the box art. So this would be your front of the instruction booklet equipped with the background and whatnot. But this is not the box art at all. Like this is the picture on the back of the box, I think. Kind of. I think the angle might be different, but it's basically the picture on the back of the box. Of course, when I do this, you really can't see the back of the box, but you get the idea. But yeah, it's very interesting. Oh wow, and in bag one, guys, we have another bag one. Whoa. Gotta do the rip. We start off building Obi-Wan right off the bat, which is interesting because the other set waited until bag 3 for us to build Galileo. I'm not quite sure which head I want to use. I'm not sure if I want to use this kind of more practical head or this head that kind of fits with this build more. I think I'm gonna go with this one for now, and then if I ever, you know, get a similar Obi-Wan minifigure in the future that'll have a more normal expression, then I'll switch this around to be the flying one. And we have the Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan Kenobi minifigure. And actually, another thing is you actually have this hood piece here that you could put on his head as opposed to the hair, but I'm gonna keep it just like the hair because I like this as a minifigure better. I think this one is far more practical. And I really, really like this minifigure. I think it has just really great detail. Again, the face looks great, looks exactly like Ewan McGregor, an expression Ewan McGregor would make. For the torso, we do actually have some wrinkles on the back printing here. And we're gonna start off by building Ton Wee. So definitely some really interesting prints on this minifigure, and obviously this crazy new head mold for Kaminoans, so hopefully this means that we're going to get more Kaminoan minifigures in the future. So for the skirt, we actually have printing on the front and the back, pretty simple. Whoa! I dropped there! And then we obviously have torso printing on the front and the back, and then obviously some really cool head printing on there. So, I mean, in all, great minifigure. The minifigures for the set are absolutely amazing, both of them. Highly recommend if you're a minifigure collector. There he is. I actually have an old R4P17, so I'm going to actually compare this one to that one. And comparing the two, the torso, I guess I'd call that a torso prints, are exactly the same. The head prints, you might be able to tell, are kind of different. The eye is probably the most different thing between them, and the blue is much more noticeable on this figure. The model is done, the Jedi Starfighter. Originally, kind of, I was looking at the piece count, and I was like, man, it's a really expensive set, you know, $30 for, you know, less than 300 pieces. However, looking at it, there are a lot of big pieces here, and I mean, just seeing this Starfighter, this is definitely worth $30. Like, absolutely. It's amazing. There is gapping, but I think once you actually put it together, if you're displaying it from any kind of angle, you know, you really have to be like looking head on like this to really notice that gapping. We have some basic functionality. There's some of the shooting missiles that I'm not going to shoot because I'll never find it. We have two extras here. We have, what else do we have? We have landing gear down here, which can kind of fold up like that, so we can be in fly mode, which is very nice to see. We also have this little dish, which is really cool to see, and is the thing that Obi-Wan basically
lifts out of his, or comes out of Obi-Wan's starfighter when he's contacting Anakin and Padme on Tatooine to tell them, hey, there's a bounty hunter here. But the nice thing is you don't have to have this always on. You can actually just pop it off super easily. And not only is it not there anymore, however, it's still symmetrical with the starfighter. So you can very much still display it like this, and it'll still look great. And is how I'm going to display it personally. But right now I don't have anywhere to put that antenna, so I'll leave it on. We also obviously have space for Obi-Wan in the cockpit. And we have to make him not hold his lightsaber, but we'll actually get to that in a moment. The studs he sits on are actually for the back of his feet, as opposed to the front, which is interesting. Normally you see it on the front. Then we can kind of put his arms down. And there we go, he's in his starfighter. His lightsaber, you'll notice there's some clips on the bottom here. His lightsaber just clips onto one of those. There you go, you don't see it anymore. Then we have our buddy R4 P17 here, and we can pop off his head here and put it on this little swivel plate tile. No, plate. It is a plate. Plate here, and then we can have it like it is in the movie. It spins. His little head. It spins kind of weirdly. It catches on this missile firing thing. However, yeah, that is how it's supposed to be built, so I guess it is nice because it means it won't swivel on its own too much. But it's definitely, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's still a little loose. One thing I don't like is that the plate underneath is black. I really wish they had done it in a red. I think if they had done it in a red, it would have looked better. I don't think this is really a problem in the set. You know, just a really tiny nitpick. And then lastly, there's actually a place to do with R4's little body. So if you pull this up right here, there's a perfect hole down there. And we literally just slot R4's body in this hole, close it up, and there you go. It's in there. And I love that. I love that they thought of places to put all the accessories. You know, they were able to balance it to say, okay, we have an entire R4P17, we have an entire Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and they have a place to actually store it in the ship. I think is just amazing. I think really the only way they could have gone further is to find little storage for these two bullets. I think if they had done that, I would have been absolutely blown away. But I think as it is, this is a pretty reasonable amount, and definitely more than I would have expected out of a simple set like this, being able to actually think about where you're going to put all of the accessories. In all, this is an amazing $30 set. It's definitely not the set for you if you hate stickers. There are a lot of stickers, but man, do they add to the final look. However, we can't dawdle on it for too long because we have quite a few more sets to get into. And next up, we have the smallest LEGO Indiana Jones set of 2023. This is the Fighter Plane Chase, set number 77012. It's 8 and up, comes with Indiana Jones, Henry Jones Sr., and a fighter pilot, because, yeah, they're not going to say it's a Nazi pilot on the box, which is very reasonable. So it's basically just that car chase scene from Last Crusade. We get a little sign. This is Berlin. We get a car and, of course, the fighter plane. It says 387 pieces. On the top, we have the minifigures. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And then on the back, we have the scene from the movie where they ride into a tunnel and the plane into the tunnel behind them, and the plane kind of scoots up beside the car. Very funny scene. So yeah, let's get into it. The instruction booklet, which has now, instead of actual product images, it has like rendered images, which I don't know when they started doing a rendered image as opposed to actual photography, but I gotta say I prefer the photography. And this set is actually an interesting thing for me because I should have mentioned this when I was looking at the box, but as opposed to the other two Indiana Jones sets, which I knew from the get-go I really wanted. You know, one is my favorite, well, we'll get to that later, but I knew I wanted to get both of those right off the get-go. This was kind of one that I didn't really want because I'm not a really big vehicle guy. I like my kind of locations more than vehicles, unless it's Star Wars, of course. That's a whole different ballpark. But if it's not Star Wars, I tend to like my locations more. And so just a set that basically had vehicles from, I mean, a good scene, but not a super long, extended, important scene from Last Crusade. I didn't really feel like getting it. You know, I could buy the Henry Jones Senior minifigure somewhere else. But eventually I figured that if I'm going to buy the other two, and this one is the smallest one in the wave, I might as well just buy it and complete the wave. So that's what I did. So we're going to start with Indy. So we have some nicely printed Indiana Jones legs. We have the jacket piece with the tie, which is unique, which is actually something unique. All three Indy minifigures in this wave are technically all unique. Whether that be something as simple as like the tomb, the Escape from the Lost Tomb Indy has gloves on, whereas the Temple of the Golden Idol doesn't have gloves on, and you know that's a simple difference, but this one is definitely more distinct with the tie, which he wears in Last Crusade, so definitely makes sense. And then we simply have an Indy head, which is over here, which I think is a great Indiana Jones head. Some people may like the older one better, from like, 2007? But I definitely think at least they can say that this one looks much more like Harrison Ford. And then we have this beautiful new dually molded Indiana Jones hat piece. Oh, this thing is amazing. Also, we have his whip. They're kind of a rubbery piece. I think it's the same mold they used back in the day. But I hear from a very prominent source, Mini Superheroes Today, another Lego YouTuber, that one time he actually tried to stretch this whip out, and he left it like completely stretched out, this whip stretched out all the way for like a summer, and then eventually like let it go and let all of it, released it, and it basically all went back into this coil just like before. So definitely a very resilient Lego piece if they're continuing to do it the same way they did before. Oh, one thing very interesting I just noticed. This does not have his satchel. I don't know if Indy has his satchel on at this point in the movie. But it's really interesting because I believe, the other two sets, I think both come with his satchel. Let me check. Yeah, both of the other Indiana Jones Lego sets come with his satchel, whereas this one does not. We have the Grail Diary. Seeing this as a Lego piece, even if it is a 1x1 printed tile, is so cool. One thing, I know in the original they used this piece. What am I doing? They used that piece for his hat. However, I think now, especially with the Detective CMF coming out, the hat for the Detective CMF would have been so much better on Henry Jones, and I really wish they had actually done something with that. I mean, that being said, the pith helmet that they used is not bad, but they definitely could have made a better piece in this day and age. Alright, so we're done with our first build, which is this little Berlin sign. It's really small, but I actually really like it. There's a lot of detail in just this little sign. I mean, this looks like something out of a little mock, even just from all the tiny greebling here, for just something so small. Definitely really appreciate that, and definitely really happy that it's part of the set. Alright, so we're doing the car doors. So here we have the entire 2x3, and if you notice, there's a ton of space on the bottom and on the top of this 2x3, which is very, very interesting, because normally stickers fit basically the whole piece. One interesting little thing, for the headlights, the piece they use are completely white BB-8 heads, so that's interesting. And I will definitely say the effect of those BB-8 heads as headlights, man, it looks really good. That was a really wise part usage there. So we're completely done with bag one and the car, which I think looks amazing. It's, again, not like the favorite thing, if I was gonna pick one specific Lego set to get, it definitely would not be this one. But I will say that if you like Lego vehicles and you like them to look very accurate and nice, this is definitely a very, very nice looking car. And obviously we can take, we have the sign too, we can't do anything with that. We can take Henry Jones Sr., put them in the car, escaping. I think definitely for display purposes, you'd probably want to remove all their accessories. This is very crowded in there. But, I mean, it is technically doable to just leave the accessories in their hands. And there we go, the third and final minifigure of the set. Definitely not as interesting or elaborate as the other two, but I mean, still a reasonable addition to this set considering the scene that they were going for. And the orange 1x1 studs here, interestingly enough, they're the studs with the hole, not just normal 1x1 studs. I wonder why that is. All right, and that completes the build and the entire set, actually. So, first off, the plane it's a little bigger than I was expecting. For functionality, it's not super functional. I mean, the prop, oh, you cannot see anything but my hand here. The prop can spin, that's cool. The wings do come off, however, it's really hard to get them off. And the thing with the ball and socket joints, which is the way that those things are connected, if you can see up there, the ball and socket joint right in there. They come off, they break really easily, so I don't want to pop them off and on too many times. There's basically normal guns there that shoot these plain black tiles that are, I guess, supposed to be bullets. Because, yeah, I guess LEGO just kind of forgot when they were designing this that this is very much a military plane, and not only that, but a Nazi plane, which is really, really surprising to see LEGO do, especially nowadays. That being said, though, I do appreciate that they went this route and did make it realistic. If they were going to make this scene, which I think is a really iconic scene, and is a great, cheap way to get Henry Jones Sr. in a set, I think that I'd much rather them have gone the route they did and create a more accurate-looking plane than gone with the route of making it look super different and inaccurate to the actual scene. And I mean, if we're being completely honest, the model plane that they used in the movie wasn't even a Nazi plane, it was a Swiss plane that they modified. One interesting fact is the fire here, it's very much visible when you don't have the wing up. So I guess there's like engines back here or something. I really have no idea why that fire is there. I'll probably have to rewatch that scene in the movie and see if there's anything that would be shooting fire there. And if there's not, I'm definitely going to remove those pieces because they're super weird and a bit obnoxious. And I mean, there really shouldn't be anything shooting fire, any jets or anything, because again, it's a prop plane. I don't know. You can also, another thing, obviously, you can take off the cockpit. It's kind of weird to do. You kind of got to force it in there. My hand is in the way again. Oh my goodness. You kind of got to force it out to get it to work, but it pulls out pretty easily. And then we can put our pilot in there. Let's put down his goggles. And then we can, I'm going to get my hand in the way again. All right, then we can get him in the plane. So all in all, for the set, we have the plane, the little display thing, whatever that is, and obviously the car. I think in all, let me get this out of the way. In all, it's a pretty nice set. It's a nice small set. Definitely now having built it, it is definitely worth the, I think it was $30, $35 price tag. It's definitely worth that. And I think that if you enjoy this scene in the movie, enjoy Last Crusade, like LEGO vehicles, this is definitely a great set to get. And I think that, I mean, if you're getting Indiana Jones sets in general, you might as well pick this up. It's not super expensive, and the build and the whole end product is definitely worth it. All right, so next up we have the other Indiana Jones set. This is the Escape from the Lost Tomb, set number 77013, 8-and-up, 600 pieces. Comes with 4 minifigures, Marion, Indy, Sala, and a mummy minifigure. The box I got is pretty smashed up, which definitely is a bummer for someone who enjoys keeping the boxes, but I mean, really doesn't say anything about the quality of the Lego inside there, or the Lego pieces. Lego's not a noun, it's an adjective. So, top we have minifigures, nothing here, nothing anywhere else. And on the back it of course shows, you got the arc, pour out the snakes, arc, flip the mummy, and that you can knock over the wall. There we go, the first Lego Sala minifigure. This is awesome. It has really basic printing, like no leg printing, just basic head and torso printing, some good back printing. But I think this, again, this is really all this figure needs. You know, it's pretty hard to mess up Sala. All right, so we are done with bag one, and we have a really, really nice base coming along. So we finished the mummy. We get great leg and hip printing, great torso printing, great head printing, really nice back printing and back of head printing. Just a really nice print. It's a lot nicer than it really needs to be for basically a throwaway figure. I mean, like I said, it's definitely nice. It fits with the overall set. But when you're looking at amazing minifigures like the new Indy, the first Sala minifigure, a great new Marion Ravenwood minifigure, you know, the mummy unfortunately follows behind, but oh my goodness, he's ripped. Look at those abs. I don't know why they decided to do that, but they decided to do that, and we now have more rotting corpse minifigures, so that's something. Man, each time I think this thing has like reached its max height, it just gets higher. Like I thought this was kind of going to be like the roof. I guess we were gonna put the like top layer of stuff on there, and then nope, it's like, hey, put these on. Now it's taller. And yeah, we now have another Indy figure. Very nice. I like this one more than the other one. The satchel adds a lot, and I mean, I like the no tie better than tie, but I mean, I am happy that minifigure did come with a tie. Because if it didn't, it would just be the same as this. It would be the same as the one from the Lost Tomb. No, this is the Lost Tomb. The Temple of the Golden Idol set. Man, these two other Indiana Jones sets have very similar names. Alright, there we go. There it is, the Ark of the Covenant. We can compare it to... This is probably the most accurate Ark of the Covenant I have. This is the one from the Indiana Jones Adventure series, or basically the Black series for Indiana Jones, compared to the Lego Ark. So, I mean, the biggest differences here are the poles are kind of like on the bottom on this Ark, whereas they're toward the middle, but I don't really know how you attach two poles to a 2x4. The angels on top, originally when I saw the way they did this, I was like, oh, I kind of like the one from the old Lego Ark from like 2007 or whatever better. But, you know, like comparing it directly to this one, the angels do actually sit very low on the Ark. So I actually think that did a really good job as far as the angels go. Bag 4. And man, this is a great, great figure. We have really nice face printing, nice torso printing, good back printing, and dual molded legs with great printing, which it just, oh man, those dual molded legs really, really help sell the look of the figure. And the hair, I think, is great, leagues better than the hair we got for the original Marion figure back in the original Temple Escape figure. The original Temple Escape, the figure from that one was definitely not as great as this figure. This figure is amazing, and probably my favorite figure from the set. You know, it's like hard because of how much I love the Indiana Jones figure, obviously, but the thing is he's in all three sets, so when I look at my favorite from each set, it's hard to pick Indy because, well, he's in the other sets, so I guess he's just the overall winner. Alright, so that is going to complete the Escape from the Lost Temple set. This set honestly shocks me that this is $40. All of this is only $40. If you gave me this set, didn't tell me the price and said, what do you think this would be? I would give you probably about $60 to about $75. And no, it's $40. And that, to me, is just amazing. The giant Anubis statues, there's so much wide open area with the base plate, so much crazy detail everywhere, stuff on the back. It is just amazing all the way around. And I think one of the great things about this set is it can really be used by adults and kids. I think the great things for kids is it has a ton of play features. And one of the really great things, I think, is that unlike a lot of sets which just have general play feature, this is actually play features that tell a story, which for me was the biggest reason why I didn't really play with Legos even when I was a child. I just built them and displayed them because I never really knew what kind of story to tell or how to tell it from a few cars or maybe a tiny little area of a building or a gas pump or whatever. There's not a whole lot of storytelling purposes because there's no play features to go along to tell those stories. Which I guess well, I don't guess. That is a lot of the reason why Lego exists, is to use your imagination. However, imagination can really be helped out when there's some cool movement to go along with it. And one of my favorite sets of all time was the Lord Business Evil Lair, because it had so many different play features that all told the story of that scene from the Lego movie, and I loved it so much for that. And this one is kind of along the same breed. Everything here, all the play features are meant to tell the story from that scene of the movie. So, you know, you have the walking or going down in, and we have all the snakes and the ring of the fire that you can safely walk in, and then walking into this beautiful archway to get the Ark of the Covenant, which obviously can come out so they can move it out, and so it gets lifted up. And then obviously Marion gets dumped down there, so they're stuck down here, and then they notice the snakes coming through the wall. You probably didn't see that because the Anubis statue was in the way, but I did the snake thing. So then Indy gets up on the Anubis statue and knocks it over, knocking over the wall, so then they can climb back there, and then Marion can get back over here and accidentally release the mummy, which comes down and screams, so then they leave. To me, it's just so perfect. They all line up in just such a great way, and I'm going to get to talking about this play feature because this is one of the best play features in any Lego set ever. But just having all those play features that line up to tell the story, it just goes the extra mile to make this such a great set. But one thing that the Lord Business Evil Lair lacked was that it was very much a play set. Now, looking back as an adult, it is not a set I like very much because it's just kind of 4 different sections kind of jammed together. There's no real display ability. The minifigures, however, that's another story. That Lord Business figure is one of my favorite figures of all time. But this is great because it is also a great display feature. These two amazingly done Anubises, like I was talking about, this beautiful archway, this extremely detailed back. This is a set that I can absolutely display and feel great displaying. It's just amazing all around, and I can't think of something to complain about when it comes to this set, which is great. All right, for our next set, we're actually going to take kind of a step back and look at a smaller set, and actually a very important set for today in specific. And this is the Spider-Man vs. Sandman final battle. And I'm looking at it after the bigger Indiana Jones sets because after this I'm going to be building the other No Way Home set, and if you know about this set, it can combine with that set. So I want to build them back to back, so we're building this one a little later. Now this one is so special now, specifically because this hasn't actually been released yet. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am recording this on December the 26th, 2023. This does not come out until January of 2024. I actually found this a few weeks ago early at my local Walmart, of all places. You know, the last place I would think to check. So I'm very privileged that I'll be able to look at both of those sets today, as opposed to that one now and this one later. Anyway, this is 10 and up set, Spider-Man vs. Sandman Final Battle, number 76080, 347 pieces, and I believe it will be retailing for $37 or like $38. That is US dollars. Nothing special. On the back, you know, got the new web piece, you can spin Sandman. This set obviously is really important because first time we've ever seen a Lego lizard, and of course it's a Sandman and a lizard to add to the big final battle set. So let's open the box, and we have a rubber web piece, new for 2024. That was just in the box, kind of bent, but I really don't expect myself using that very much. We have a big instruction booklet again with that very plain, bland white as opposed to the box art, and completely new art. I don't even think that's not in the box at all. So this is completely new art. And there we go. Beautiful, beautiful lizard minifigure. We get great hip, leg, toe printing, everything. The torso printing, head printing, back printing. It's just, man, it is a great, great figure. Alright, so that completes bag 1 with the, basically the complete base. I actually think it is the complete base, and then the rest, bags 2 and 3, are the actual Sandman. So yeah, let's get into that. Alright, and there we go. There is the Electro figure. All in all, I think the figure itself is great. I really want to open the bigger one with the much bigger lightning, but man, just as a figure itself, really, really great figure. Unfortunately, no backup head printing, but I mean, what was you gonna do? Leg printing is nice. Not necessary. I think they could have gone with just normal tan legs and it would have been fine, but getting leg printing is nice. Great, great torso printing, and of course, an amazing face print. So that's all for that. Let's get on to the actual build. And of course, we just gotta shout out this amazing, amazing Sandman face. Man, I know this is not a new mold, but man, that print on this mold is, oh, it's great. And then once you put it on the full head to give it the full upside down Sandman head, because I didn't put it on the right way. Oh, that was a bad sound. But once you get it correctly on, man, the head just looks amazing. I believe that this is the same Spider-Man that came in the No Way Home, the No Way Home Sanctorum here. So, I mean, I've kind of got this guy in a pose, however, I mean, just looking it over, yeah, it's the exact same figure we've gotten. Alright, so that's going to finish it for the Sandman Final Battle. It's a pretty small set. It's not a bad set by any means. I really don't think it's a great set. I would definitely say not worth $40, especially when I just opened up a $40 set that was like 4 times as big. However, I do think that if you already have the other No Way Home set, this is a must-buy. Alright, now we're in the big leagues. No more warm-ups. All sets from here on out are large. I was going to say they're over 1,000 pieces, but this one is not over 1,000, and the next one we're going to look at is not over 1,000. But compared to all the other ones we've done, these are a massive step up. I mean, the next biggest one we did was the other Indiana Jones set that was 600, and we're now jumping to 900. It is a 10 and up set, the Spider-Man Final Battle. 900 pieces, comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 minifigures, which is quite a lot of minifigures. Oh, man. And then we have this. Here. I've never had a Lego set with this. I know they do this for the larger, like 18 and up sets, but I think this really shows that we are in the big leagues now. We don't just get normal instruction booklets. They're all up in these, like, fancy envelopes. Oh, man. Alright, so we have Green Goblin with 2 pumpkin bombs. Really basic pumpkin bomb, but I really want to talk about this figure because, if I'm being honest, this figure is a huge disappointment for this set. My biggest issue with this figure is it's really not detailed. You know, the Goblin, especially in No Way Home, has so much detailing just all over the place, and this was a figure didn't even get leg printing. And if I was going to pick one figure in this entire set to get leg printing, it would definitely be the Green Goblin. And if I was going to have arm printing too, I think arm printing would have been great. Not necessary. I really think that leg printing would have been enough to fix the figure, but arm printing would have been just another amazing thing. And this kind of purple cloak cape thing, it's printed on, and I really don't like that because obviously in the actual movie it's like a cowl that he has, and so just having it printed on just kind of loses the depth that it really gives. It feels like a very empty, very bland minifigure, and I just really wish we had been given a better minifigure for our set. I mean, that being said, the head and hair combo is beautiful. It's amazing. The new head I absolutely love. It perfectly captures Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. I am glad that they added in a extra changeable head and hair for all of the Spider-Men. You know, even if they didn't try to go overboard and print new parts or make it perfect, I really appreciate the fact that they did at least try to do that, and I think for most of them, they did really well. There's one of them that we'll get to that didn't really hit the mark, but I definitely think Tom Holland's is close enough that I definitely like the head and hair. Alright, and finally we have Dr. Octopus. I tried to kind of spread his arms out to to kind of make them more natural and fluid instead of them all being kind of the same. I tried to make some of them like kind of wiggle back, but that kind of looked weird. The arms are definitely something that I wish we got the arms from the Daily Bugle set. I think those Doc Ock arms were just, oh, they were amazing. Whereas these are, they're okay. They look better in person than when I was first expecting. Head, great. The torso and leg printing here, all great. A lot of people have complained that his jacket should be green and not gray. I actually disagree with that. I think in the movie, it looks more gray. I went back and looked at it. It still looks gray to me. I think that gray was a logical choice, and I think that the torso and legs look great. So, I have to say, out of the three, I think Andrew Garfield by far got the best head. I think that the head and definitely that hair looks exactly like Andrew Garfield. That being said, we're not going to be using this head. Unlike Tom, because Tom Spider-Man I already have a bunch of. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, yeah, I definitely don't have one of. So, there's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man minifigure for an actual affordable price. So, yeah, there it is. Giant Electro minifigure with all this crazy lightning back here. That is made of I don't really know. I don't know where these pieces came from, but my goodness, that is a very large backpack. But definitely well worth it. And this finishes bag 4, I think. Yes, this finishes bag 4. So, and this is the Spider-Man minifigure I've been waiting to open. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man minifigure. And this is one that I won't even be putting on the head because the head, oh, it's bad. It's just, This, to me, does not look anything like Tobey Maguire at all, especially from this movie. I don't know that they actually have any heads that were in production that would have looked really good. Whoa. For Tobey Maguire. So that might have been one of the reasons. But if they ever decide to make a new Tobey Maguire head, I really, really hope it's not this, because this is bad. Yes! With nice dual molded legs, great printing. The lighting here is absolutely horrible, and me holding my hand in front of the light is probably not helping whatsoever. But as well as you can see, this is an amazing minifigure. And I mean, probably, yeah, I don't see why this wouldn't be my favorite minifigure from the set. Alright, there we go. The Doctor Strange minifigure for this set. This is pretty much the same as any other Doctor Strange we've been getting for a Multiverse of Madness. It is interesting because the torso is the Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange, and it's not the No Way Home Doctor Strange. The No Way Home Doctor Strange came in the small Sanctum Sanctorum basement that was one of the No Way Home line, and I actually have that one. So this one, I kind of gave a more stern face, because yeah, it's basically the same figure exactly, except for a slightly different chest print. But I'm really not going to complain, because again, I already have the other Doctor Strange. If I really cared about the torso print, I could switch out the Doctor Stranges. And they already have this Multiverse of Madness torso in production right now, so why would they go back and use an old retired piece when they can just continue to use a piece that's already in production? This is an MJ that we've gotten for quite some time, so really not something... I mean, this is not the specific MJ, but like that... come on, focus. Head and hair we've gotten a lot of other sets, and it's just a generic torso and legs, so nothing really to write home about, just a pretty standard minifigure. And then we have Ned Leeds, who people have some complaints about. However, I have justifications for why their complaints are invalid. So, what people complain about with this figure are really two things. Firstly, the jacket should be blue and not red. But I think this really has to do with the fact this is not a special standout minifigure. This is just kind of another throwaway minifigure, you know? It's not something super special, and so I understand why they would just pick another part that was in production instead of like making a whole new part. And then some people also say that his hair should be dark brown instead of black. Guys, really, it doesn't look that different. This minifigure is perfectly fine. Okay, and here is the No Way Home final battle set. Man, it is really nice. I cannot wait to get all the minifigures and whatnot on it. And I haven't yet or put any of these J-hooks on because I want to add Sandman to it and then build all the minifigures around it. And I haven't really decided how I'm going to put everything up here. But as for a set, it is definitely more of a display piece. There's not a lot of functionality other than different places you can put the J-hooks. Obviously, scaffolding, very, very nice. We have a Doctor Strange portal. The two biggest things are the head can lift up, and inside there's some sand. And normally there'd be a Sandman hand, but I have to take the Sandman hand out to put the big Sandman in there anyway, so might as well just start with it out. And then you can take down this, and there's a little portal to the Sanctum Sanctorum. So I'm going to get the Sandman final battle set, and we're going to combine them, baby. This is a great No Way Home showcase here. Wow, that is amazing. We got Sandman coming out the top. We got Doctor Strange ambushing the lizard who's coming out of portal, and Electro over there, and they're fighting Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, who's on this broken scaffolding. We got Ned over there chilling. We got Doc Ock fighting Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Now I know at this point in the movie, Doc Ock is technically a good guy, but let's face it, that's boring, okay? So he's a bad guy now. We got MJ kind of hiding in there where the bad guys can't see her. We got Tom Holland Spider-Man fighting, of course, Green Goblin over there. And just in all, this is one of the greatest displays I have ever seen. And I'm not even the biggest fan of No Way Home. I thought that it was a movie that had a lot of flaws, and I could go into a ton of time talking about the different flaws of the movie, but oh my goodness, this is amazing. And it was fun. It was fun to take all the time to put all those figures up there, and this is definitely something I'm displaying. If you're on the fence about buying, either one of these sets, the original No Way Home or the kind of expansion, get off the fence and buy both. Alright, continuing on with the trend of really big sets, we have the Emperor's Throne Room Diorama. Oh my goodness, the lighting here is awful. Oh dear. I have no idea how I'm going to fix that lighting. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it. So this one technically is smaller than the No Way Home final battle set by, about 100 pieces. But obviously I did that one first because I wanted to do the two No Way Home sets back to back. So this set is, again, Emperor's Throne Room. I guess that's it. 18 and up. Set number 75352. It has 807 pieces. We get a picture of Luke Skywalker up there. Nothing there. Kind of picture there. And on the back, we just have another image. And of course, some comparison photos. Let's see. Whee! That was so many more bags than I thought there was going to be. Ugh. I am getting burned out. 2 bendy poles. Oh my goodness, this is long. Do I need all of this? Is this how long the set is? Jeez. Okay. Well, I have to say, I really like this minifigure. The lighting, obviously, terrible in this lighting, but the hairpiece just looks really great. I know a lot of people, or not, some people. I would say most people say it's still good, but there are definitely some people who are still on the end that it's not great. I think it's great, and I really hope that we see it appear in other future sets, and hopefully on more Luke Skywalker minifigures, which, I think it's reasonable that it will. We just get torso printing back and front. There's no leg or arm printing. Of course, how can you see in this stupid freaking light? But I think that's pretty reasonable to have. I don't really see why he would need any arm or leg printing. I think it's great the way it is. Okay, I found back here. So back to we're going to build a minifigure I've wanted for a very long time, and that's Darth Vader. I remember, like, back when I was, ooh, cool. Extra cape. This might be Palpatine's cape. I'm just gonna put that there. But it might be an extra cape, and if it's an extra cape, that's very cool. I always wanted a Vader minifigure. I didn't have one. I don't have one other than this one. I didn't have one before this. And I remember I would play with all my Star Wars Legos, and I'd have to find substitutes for Darth Vader, and it always got under my skin. I always really wanted a Darth Vader. And now I finally have a Darth Vader. I'm very happy about it. Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. So he has this, like, neck piece, right? Like, the bottom of his helmet. And the bottom of his helmet, like, it fits on. Like, normally neck pieces are very loose. This one doesn't fall off. It slides very tightly on, which is interesting. We also get an extra one of those. Okay. Now I gotta put on the most important part, the helmet. I gotta find it. Here it is. The Vader helmet. Wow, I'm sure all of you have seen this. They've used this for a while, but it's big for me, okay? Oh wow, that fits on very nicely. This is a very nice minifigure, I have to say. Probably the best in the set, even though it's not even unique to the set. It was in like a TIE bomber set or something. Let's give him this red lightsaber. All right, so there's not a lot to talk about him, because obviously he's come in other things. But there's a ton of printing. There is arm printing, for goodness sakes. We have really, really nice arm printing. Good torso printing, good leg printing. I mean, no leg side printing, but that is to be expected. We have the cape, is the cape we've been getting for a while now. It's more of the spongy kind of cape, not the papery one. And I honestly like this better because over the years, my old papery capes have fallen apart a little bit. And also this one can bend more, whereas if you accidentally bend a paper cape, it stays that way. Some pretty simple back printing here. Obviously we have the helmet, so we can take off the helmet obviously, and we get the bottom of the helmet and the face, which I have to say, now I'm thinking, I was trying to think, does it look more like Hayden Christensen as an old guy, or does it look like the oh dang, what's his name, the actor who played the face of Vader in the original trilogy? I don't remember his name. But an interesting thing is, in the original trilogy, when Vader finally takes off his helmet, he does not have eyebrows. They had those originally, and then they digitally removed them for re-releases because if his face was burned, there'd be no reason for him to continue to have eyebrows. However, this minifigure has eyebrows, which is kind of interesting. So I guess this is based off of the original theatrical release of Episode 6, I guess. I mean, if so, I'm not complaining. So I finally built up that kind of back dome. It's pretty crazy. It fits together kind of weird and clips onto those two Technic axle things. It was very, very weird to get on, but I think the effect, once it actually does get on, is amazing. But it basically works by building, like, here's a panel here. So you basically build a panel that has two clips on either side, and then you basically just clip it to each of these ring things, the one on the outside and the one on the inside, and then you kind of space them out all properly, and they all fit together and create this super duper cool effect. Got an Emperor Palpatine figure, very, very nice. I'd say, like, it's basically a perfect Emperor Palpatine figure. You know, I think the hood was designed for this figure. The printing is great. We get torso printing and leg printing. Some just wrinkles on the back, nothing special back there. Obviously, the nice spongy cape we were talking about before. But it is interesting that this Palpatine figure, his eyes don't have pupils, which is something that's weird because I can kind of see why they did it. It makes him look kind of more evil and otherworldly, but I just think that it looks better with pupils. I mean, if you look at the scenes from the movie, Palpatine has pupils in this scene. You know, this is kind of more of like a Palpatine's eyes in like episode 9 or something. I don't really know. I don't think it ruins the figure, but if you could very easily switch out the head for an older Palpatine head, and I think it would go along just fine, and I think that would probably be the wisest thing to do if you want to make the perfect Palpatine figure. The way this dome piece kind of fits in is very weird. Basically, these clips down there I was talking about, it just kind of pops into those clips. It just sits in there, and then you build these things on top here with these T-axles that kind of push against that and keep it in place. But I will say, once it is kept in place like that, it's surprisingly sturdy. Like, I don't really think this is going to fall out unless you were to, like, pull these away or something. You know, if you actually take the time to push the T-axles in enough so it'll lock it in, it'll stay locked in. There we go. We now have the completed Emperor's Throne Room diorama. It's a great diorama, I have to say. If you were looking to get a Star Wars diorama, this is probably the one I'd recommend. I don't have any other dioramas to compare this one to, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, this is the one people recommend, and I can agree with that recommendation that this is definitely a great set. There, obviously being a diorama, there isn't a lot of play features. There kind of is with the fact that this panel can lift up and there's the Emperor's Lightning under there, and the chair spins so you could have him looking out into space. Other than that, it is purely a display piece. It's really nice and flat. It is nice. All of these are just flat tiles, which is really, really great. Really helps with the overall aesthetic of it. I love it when display pieces and Legos have flat tiles. We obviously have the logo and the quote on the front. And then we have the 40-year anniversary of Return of the Jedi, because that's the year the set came out. However, a nice thing about this that you probably saw is this is actually very easily removable, like that, and it goes away. So, you know, if you're not someone who wants to display it with that, it's super easy. You just take it off, do something else with it. I don't know. I personally like it. I'm going to display it with that. I think that this looks better, but again, it's up to personal preference. And we're getting to the final 3 sets with the new Guardian ship, which is the official title. Everyone who has seen the movie knows that it's known as the Bowie, named after, of course, the singer David Bowie. But I guess Lego just couldn't get the rights to use that name. The set number is 76255, ages 10 and up. It has 1,108 pieces. Comes with 5 minifigures that we'll get into later. Nothing interesting on the backs. We got Drax on top. Just another picture on the back. But yeah, let's open her up. I think that all got in camera. If it did, great. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Alright, it said to build Star-Lord first, but I built Nebula first. So it's a pretty simple minifigure. Nothing huge here. We do get some nice leg printing, but I guess that makes sense considering how many minifigures in this set use these legs. Simple torso printing on the front and the back with her metal arm that Rocket gave her. I believe this is a new Nebula face. I think all the old Nebula faces we've gotten have had that like ring around this eye. But in this set, she does not have it because I guess that gets removed in this movie or something. I know she doesn't have it in the movie, but I don't think they ever explained why she does not have it in Guardians 3. So we have this Star-Lord minifigure. It has basically the exact same legs and torso as Nebula. Only difference is he has a normal arm, obviously. It's the same hair we've gotten for a while from the Guardians 2 and I think Infinity War. And then the same head that we've been getting for a very long while that looks very, very much like Chris Pratt. And I mean, I think they've used this on Owen Grady as well. So I think this is basically just the Chris Pratt head now. He does have an alternate expression, which is kind of like angry. but we're just gonna go with this expression. And of course, he's got his quad blasters in kind of like a gunmetal gray, so that's cool. All right, yeah, the cape definitely pops up a bit. But man, this is an amazing minifigure. We get great leg printing, great torso printing, back printing. It's all in gold, which is amazing. This hairpiece in gold. Great expression that just looks just like Will Poulter. It is a great figure, and yeah, when people say this is the and man, I don't even know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but there we go. You see on his torso? That kind of like reflective surface. Like you can't really see the detail here, but then like it comes out. Man, the way they did the detailing on this figure is super nice. Definitely the best figure in the set, because everyone else is basically just another figure that's appeared somewhere else, but with a new shirt and pants. But Adam Warlock is a completely unique figure. And also, wow, these kind of pinkish purple engine exhaust pieces, man, this is a crazy color. Like this is a color where that you gotta see this piece in person. It's like almost glittery. I don't know, it's crazy. I think it's gonna look really, really good once it's all put together. So in this bag they give us obviously some of these like pink bricks that I was talking about before, but at least in this bag we literally are just covering it up. Like we're completely putting bricks around that, and the next few steps are putting even more bricks around that. So I have no idea why they decided to give us this crazy fancy color brick when they could have just given us any other color. And we have our Mantis minifigure. Pretty simple. A lot of people do not like the face and think there needs to be a better face. I mean, looking at it, it's okay. I mean, I've been looking at basically that Mantis head and hair since like 2017 when I was looking at the first Mantis minifigure in the set. Whatever set. I don't remember exactly what set she comes in, but she does come in a Guardians Volume 2 set. And I used to love to look at Legos all the time, even if I didn't buy them. And yeah, we're still getting that same head and hair piece, just with the same torso, with that same back printing, torso printing, everything. She doesn't come with any kind of weapons or anything, but that kind of makes sense. So there we go. There's the Drax minifigure. Again, very similar to the other ones. We do have some nice back of head printing. I don't know why they printed it on a sand green head. Like, he's green in the comics, but this is not from the comics. This is from the movie, so really should have been a gray. He's definitely a gray. But, oh well, what you gonna do? Nothing. That's the answer. You're gonna deal with your figure. Okay, and there we go. Now the full ship is complete. It's not playing camera, so let me see if we can do something about that. Okay, there we go. It definitely looks more blue on camera here. It's more of a kind of a teal in person, and let me tell you one thing. It looks a lot better in person than it does in any of the images. It is great. It is a great ship. I don't know how accurate to the movie it is. People were saying that it was kind of not, it was like thin, should be wider. I kind of agree with that, but then at the same time, it definitely feels wider in person than a lot of people make it out to be. There's not a lot of play functionality, really. I mean, you have the stand, which it can obviously come off, and it just pops back in, I think. On the back here, we have things like these jet engines are kind of movable. You can move them, well, you can pop them off. But they're meant to be kind of moved around, and you can spin them and whatnot, or you can just put them in their kind of basic position here. There is the kind of ramp that can open. You kind of see that. Can slide open and closed, and then obviously the top can open up. And I believe there's space for all the Guardians, so we can put them in there. Let's see, there's no kind of stud firers or anything like weapons on this ship, which is really interesting. And then obviously we have lastly, you saw these flyers can kind of detach like so, and they're their own separate little thing, or you can kind of just snap them back on, and then bam, there we go. So we have to put in here Nebula, next Star-Lord and Mantis. We have 3 that can go in this top cockpit here, so I'm going to see if I can put Star-Lord in there without taking out his guns. And Nebula basically just kind of sits in there. And then they all close. Oh, look at that. It does fit. You can fit Star-Lord with his guns. Alright, awesome. And then Drax. I guess we just stick Drax up in there. Oh, okay. There we go. Alright, so we can actually get all the Guardians in there, and the only weapon we have to remove from anyone's hand is Nebula's sword, which has a great clip for it. And I mean, if you wanted to remove the other ones, like Star-Lord's blaster and Drax's knives, they probably would fit in a lot smoother. And obviously there's, you know, like spacing up in here where you just kind of clip it in. There's no space for Adam Warlock, obviously, but, you know, he's the villain, so there's not really any reason for him to go in the ship, but you can, like, sit him on top there. So, yeah, I think that's it for the Bowie, so, yeah, let's move on. The Bowie really surprised me with how big it turned out, so with that in mind, I think that this Benatar is going to be absolutely giant because it is almost double the pieces of the Bowie. That being said, it's kind of more filled in, whereas the Bowie, a lot of it is just empty space in between the rings. But this is the basically UCS Benatar. I mean, that's really the best way to say it. 14 up, set number 76193. The official name is the Guardian ship, and it is 1,901 pieces. Comes with 6 minifigures. The box I got was actually super duper destroyed, just like the one Indiana Jones set, whereas this whole thing was all crushed in. But just like the Indiana Jones set, that's obviously doesn't mean anything for the quality of the Lego pieces inside. On the top, you can see the Star-Lord figure, nothing on any of the other sides. And on the back, we kind of get shown some different features, some different sizing scale. So, yeah, let's actually open this bad boy up. Covered my entire desk. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. Bag number 13, I see. Alright, there we go. There's the Peter Quill. I probably should zoom in a little bit. It's fine. Here's the Peter Quill minifigure. For this set, we have some really nice chest printing, back printing. We have the head we got before, some dual molded legs with no printing. And honestly, I don't think it needs that. And then a kind of Superman style hairpiece in this kind of strawberry blonde. Looking at this hairpiece and the other one from the other set, I think I like this one better. Originally, before I had actually had any of the figures in my hand, I like the other one. I like the kind of swoopy hair, but now having the 2 figures in my hands, I think I like this one better for with the hairpiece. What's interesting though, originally I thought that this figure, it was like the trench coat look because the red matches this red, but it's actually not, because this is a jacket he wears during Volume 2, and I actually own that jacket, but it is definitely a jacket and not a trench coat, so I guess this is just supposed to be he's wearing red pants and then boots. I guess I haven't watched Infinity War in a while, so maybe they turned this version of the jacket from Volume 2 into a trench coat. But nevertheless, this is a super, super solid figure. I would say one of the best Star-Lords we've gotten to date, because I mean the ones from Guardians 1 and 2, he had like the Bucky Barnes face or something. It was not a good face for Chris Pratt, and I think the only sets that have used this face are the other Infinity War Benatar, this Benatar, and then the Bowie. So I think this is my favorite Star-Lord minifigure that they've released so far. made this cool little control panel thing that you don't even really see because it's like buried deeply in the ship. But hey, get some appreciation here. So this Mantis minifigure is basically the same as the other one, except we have a different kind of torso and legs. The legs are just plain black, nothing special about them. And the torso has some, can't get her hair off. Some back and front printing. The, like I said, the head and hair, same thing, same rubbery consistency for the hair. Alright, so there we go. There's our Thor minifigure. Nothing super special. Come on, lighting. I don't know how to do this where he's not completely in shadow. We get no leg printing here, just black legs, which is kind of boring. An okay torso print. No arm printing, obviously. Some back printing that just looks like basic wrinkles. The hairpiece is pretty nice. Pretty basic. That was not in camera at all. Pretty basic head, and then a generic Stormbreaker build. Put him by... Whoa. Try to put him by the other Guardians. Alright, here we go. Here's the Rocket minifigure. I think this is a unique minifigure to the set. We have obviously no printing on these little legs that can't move. Makes sense. We have some front printing, some back printing. We can see he's wearing Star-Lord's scarf, obviously his tail, and a head with some printed goggles on top and a grin, and obviously this big brick-built gun thing here. We finally got to that point. We finally got to the point where the build is so big, I have to put the instruction booklet on my lap just to contain everything. So, here's the Teenage Groot figure. We have some head printing, obviously. Nothing on the back. Torso and leg printing. Pretty simple. Back printing. Nothing really to write home about. Just simple Teenage Groot minifigure. The stand has been complete. And this marks the completion of the set. Woo! Basically the stand itself is pretty simple. It's a black stand. It's got this spinny thing on top with 4 poles up here, I guess. And I guess you take the Benatar. There's like holes in the bottom here. And we just kind of put this into the holes and basically the thing can spin, so you can kind of aim it up or, I mean, sideways if you wanted, or down. I think down is better. It kind of shows off more of the ship. As far as movement features go, we have these kind of wings here, and these can go up and down. The actual top wings don't move, which I think is accurate to the movie. These kind of wings in the back can move out and in. For the cockpit, we have a basic purple cockpit that can open, and an interesting thing here, my purple cockpit is actually a misprint. If you look at it, the come on. There you go. If you look at it, the silver and kind of the black don't line up. It's not huge, so I'm probably not going to go and try to replace it. I'll look. I'll see if I can pretty easily replace it with one that isn't a misprint, but if I can't, it's not really a big deal. It's not like it was a, you know, Lego face that was severely off-center or something. But anyway, that can open up, which can kind of give you access inside the ship, but this whole front can also open up, giving you actual good access to like put minifigures in there and whatnot. The top also can open up. I think that's the last feature because there's no like missiles on here or anything. Similar to the Bowie, which is interesting. But anyway, the back part can come up. I find the best way to do this is just kind of to grab this end here, and this just kind of comes up. And it does come up as 2 pieces, so that comes up, and then you can kind of get your fingernails under and lift this bigger one up. And so yeah, that's what this looks like. And then you have the internals of the ship here. There's basically 2 more seats.
a coffee maker, a donut, the Gamora picture, and there's some random stuff back there that you really can't see. So putting minifigures in here, let's swing this around. This will probably be easier to put minifigures in. We have Rocket, who I think is supposed to sit up front, but that means we have to take the gun out of his hand. I don't know what we're gonna do with that. But then we can kind of put him, well, let's not put him in the front chair because we need to put Star-Lord in the main chair. Back here. And then Rocket up front. Then we can put that down. And then you can kind of open it to a... see the Guardians. Then you kind of twist it around down there to get some more guys in. And in those two chairs, we could just put Groot and Mantis. Just kind of chilling there. And then obviously the Thor, there's no seat for Thor in here, and I don't know how you'd fit him with Mjolnir. Or not Mjolnir, Stormbreaker. Mjolnir is destroyed. And obviously there's no reason for the Chitauri to go in there. There is some clips kind of up here. I think those are for Star-Lord's guns. I'm not sure if you can put Rocket's gun up there. I'm gonna try. No, I don't think so. I don't think it'll fit in there. I mean, luckily there's a lot of like space in the back, so I can literally just drop it in there, and it's fine. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I probably can just also throw Thor and the Chitauri in the ship for storage, even if it makes no sense and they're just kind of jammed in there. Alright, that works. And then we just pop this roof back on, pop this roof back on, and there we go. We have the absolutely massive Benatar. And another thing I actually want to do real quick, let me back this up. It's about to get big. I'm going to bring in the Bowie as well, so we can do kind of a size comparison here. So I mean, as far as the ships go, can you see both? Yes, we can. The Benatar is definitely bigger than the Bowie by a very large margin. But one of the great things is, you know, if I had like, say, one of the Milanos or the old Benatar and I displayed it with this Benatar, it would look weird, the sizing would feel off, but when you have these two ships together, the sizing doesn't feel off. I know realistically, this ship should be like way, way, way bigger than this ship. The Bowie is their biggest ship in the movies, but the sizing they have this looks okay and looks like it could be a ship that existed in the same universe as this ship. And a lot of this is due to the fact there's a lot of empty space in this ship. Like, all of that is empty space, and then of course, all of that is empty space. So it gets to command a lot more space than it actually uses up. Whereas the Benatar, it gotta use all that space. Like, any space that there's no empty space, you know? So I think that's great, and also the stands look very similar. This one is obviously much more intricate. This one can't spin or anything, and it obviously has to hold up less stuff. But I think overall this is something that I'm going to really enjoy being able to display both of these ships and being able to display them together. Alright, and the set has finally been completed. It's pretty big. I would say a lot of the pieces it has are like really small. So even though it has, you know, a piece count of say 1,500 pieces, the Bowie, which has less than 1,500 pieces, kind of looks bigger. I mean, bigger in different ways, but I would say this is definitely, well, I don't know, the Benatar is pretty detailed, but this definitely is one of the most detailed sets that I've looked at, and one of the most detailed sets I have ever seen, period. And one of the great things are all of the really cool play features. We've kind of gone through them all, but I'm just gonna kind of work backwards and talk about all the detail of the set. So we start off kind of
over here, because technically we could start at the beginning going in, but we all know that the traps start here and go back. So obviously we have kind of the floor tiling. Obviously if you step on, some blow darts come out from these heads on the wall here. None of them actually shoot anything, unlike the original set from 2009, I think. I can never decide if it's 2009 or 2007. But in that, you obviously could shoot out the spears. However, this one, it kind of sacrificed that to have some more detail. But I think the play feature that does come along with this is just absolutely amazing and completely neglects the need for any kind of shooting blow darts. Around that, with the detail, we obviously have some stickered, like, almost graters. They kind of look like, metal graters, but obviously they're not. They're made of stone. Around there with stickers, we have some of this great blue and green detailing that it feels really bright. Like, it feels like it should not be that bright for the set. We obviously have a lot of dangling vines, a bunch of crazy stuff up here, the head, and of course the stand with the golden idol. And then so if Indy decides to take the golden idol off, and we can put the bag in its place, and we can turn it just a little bit, and the light brick will light up just like that, kind of lighting up the scene. And then if you push it some more, the bag of sand sinks in, and then if you twist it one more time, the head falls down to kind of simulate the temple falling apart. So then obviously we can go back here to probably the most boring play feature, and that's just the swinging on the vine. Obviously I have Satipo going the other way, but whatever. Another little thing, we have this cool detail here. This was in the movie. If you look, there's a part when Indy like turns the corner, and you can see that kind of behind him. So kind of cool that they have that in the set, even if it's not exactly where it should be. And we also have this little torch bracket thing that Indy uses to push down one of the tiles, and it shoots a blow dart and hits it. They don't really say to do anything with that in the set, but it's cool that they have one where it should be. Anyway, moving on over here, we have another play feature, which obviously, if you know, when they're going back, Satipo jumps to the other side and it breaks. So they have to negotiate that Indy is going to throw over the idol, and he'll throw him the whip. Now Satipo is obviously lying, but Indy is kind of forced to do it by the fact that there is a slowly closing door that threatens to trap them in at any moment, and they must hurry to make the negotiations before it does. This is basically just like you slide it one way, you twist it and it goes down, and you twist it the other way and it goes up and kind of locks into place. You can definitely control how fast it goes. Like if I just do that, it actually kind of just gets stuck in there. But I can obviously make it go faster or slower. It's pretty easy to control with your hand. Now, of course, once we get out there, we have some really quick detailing over here, and that's obviously the skeleton and the spikes over here that you could put Satipo really there for how he passes away tragically, or not really so tragically, because he was actually a double crosser the whole time. But I will say the detailing in this room is really good. It really looks very authentic and very cave-like. I like it quite a lot. But obviously, the biggest feature of this whole set, the boulder that rolls past. And this is one that you can kind of control as well, and we've seen that before. You just pull and whoosh, pulls toward the exit. Again, this is super satisfying to do. Really, all of the play features in the set are just incredibly satisfying. This is another one where you can kind of like easily control how fast it rolls, and if you just kind of let it go, it will roll all by itself, which is really satisfying to watch because the roll is very controlled thanks to all this crazy Technic stuff going back there. So whereas with the door, it isn't very like controlled, and it will it's loose, so you kind of have to guide it. The ball is just tons of control and makes it even more satisfying. And then of course, when Indy can make it all the way out, there's of course Belloc and the Jovitos waiting for him. Again, this set just absolutely amazing. I really hope we can get more Indiana Jones sets like this. Hopefully one for kind of the temple area and the Holy Grail, one similar to that. I would absolutely love to see that set of this kind of scale. You know, really, if they made, say, one each year that was designed from each of the movies, I'd be super ecstatic, and I would definitely get all of them. Just the detail on this is, man, it is incredible. Definitely feels like it's like a little small for both the price point and the piece count. But again, like I said, a lot of that has to do with all this tiny little detailing here, as opposed to having really big pieces to make it super huge. But that's going to wrap it up for all of the sets that I'm going to go over. So let's zoom out and look at my final thoughts. This video is definitely not the greatest. I mean, really, it's not even good. But hey, it was fun. I've never really gotten to build this many sets back to back before, and doing so was a chance to step back from all of my problems and just have a bit of fun. If you've watched this far into the video, I really can't thank you enough. This is the first video I've made for YouTube, and I've really wanted to do this for quite some time. If you could consider liking the video or subscribing, it would literally mean the world to me at this stage. I have a lot of plans for this channel, but unfortunately, college also has a lot of plans for me, so I really can't say how often I will be able to post, but I will try to come out with semi-regular content from all over the place. Lego stuff, 3D printing, who knows, maybe even gaming stuff if I can get that all figured out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.